Hello and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to be covering the best Game Week 12 free hit draft with Arsenal and Manchester City blanking this game week. A lot of people are going to be looking to hit that free hit button, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the ultimate video where we're going to cover the best team possible for you. If you do enjoy the content that you see on the channel, please like, comment and subscribe, as we are trying to hit 1,000 subs on the FPL Tom YouTube channel. But yeah, that's enough kind of waffle from me, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive into our Game Week 12 free hit draft. And starting off our Game Week 12 free hit draft, we do start with Gaeta in goal. Huge 11-pointer performance against Leicester. Plenty of saves. Picked up free bonus as well. Really like the way Palace are starting to set up defensively as well, limiting teams to very, very little XG conceded. Currently are 15th for XG conceded in the league this season. Last year they were 4th and 5th, so there has been a little bit of a decline in terms of defensive data within their side, but I do think they are starting to get back to where they were last season. With Wolves as well, they are currently the lowest scoring side in the league. They've only scored 4 goals this season and have the second lowest XG as well. So a really, really good fixture from a defensive kind of perspective. I definitely think you want to have a Palace defender. I've gone for Gaeta. We've also got Mark Gahey on the bench. Anderson as well is another fantastic option. I think if you are looking to have a strong defence this game week, I definitely think you need a Crystal Palace player there. We've gone Gaeta, but let me know down in the comments below which player you're kind of looking at on your Game Week 12 free hit draft. Moving into the back line, we do start with Timothy Castagna. Now I know what you're thinking. The Leicester defence is garbage, Tom. And you would be right. They are absolutely awful. But ladies and gentlemen, they've started to slowly recover, started to get a few more clean sheets under their belt. Still very unreliable. But the big reason why I like Timothy Castagna is the positions that he's getting himself into. During that Crystal Palace game, he was super, super high. Honestly, at some point, this man is going to haul this season. It's a big, big claim. But if he keeps himself fit and he finds the space that he is able to find in games, he will get himself a goal, he will get himself an assist, and potentially, if Leicester can keep a clean sheet in that game, an absolute mammoth score for him. Hopefully it's in Game Week 12 against Leeds. Leeds, very high, very attacking, very pressing side. When they do push their fullbacks quite high, there is going to be space to exploit or the counter, and that could fall into Timothy Castagna's absolute favour. Almost scored as well against Crystal Palace with a header that was easily saved in the end by a Gaeta. But for 4.4 million, I don't think you can go wrong. Yes, Leicester aren't the best defence, but there is going to be space for him to exploit against Leeds United. Moving on to everybody's favourite FPL asset this year, it is Kieran Trippier. Absolute bonus point magnet as well this season. Everton at home, really, really juicy fixture. And yeah, Newcastle really started the season strong. Currently 6th in the Premier League as well. He's the second highest scoring defender in FPL on set pieces, on free kicks, bonus point magnet. I think the Newcastle double up in defence potentially could be on. If you wanted to maybe move like a Castagna to a Gahey and then put Nick Pope in goal, I wouldn't mind that. I think that would be a very plausible thing to do. Everton are obviously, they've not had a bad start to the season, but have lost back-to-back games now, so we'll be looking to kind of bounce back. But going to St James's Park is a very, very difficult task to do. So I really like Trippier in here, and I really think the Newcastle double up in defence could be on if you are on the Game Week 12 wildcard. Moving on to our final defender, it is Marc Cucurella. Now, this one, I think you could go numerous ways with it. I think it's just trying to find the Chelsea defender that's going to play that week, because it seems like Graham Potter is an absolute menace to FPL managers. He's come in and he just wants to be a massive dick. Absolutely trolling everybody as he did last week, dropping Sterling, Aubameyang, just... yeah, Graham's just on a Madden. So I think if you can find the right Chelsea defender to pick during this kind of run, this game week, then I think you're on to an absolute winner. Hopefully it is kind of more a fullback that you do go for, just down to the fact that you potentially could get a massive kind of haul, especially from a Cucurella or a Ben Chilwell. Those are the two kind of main options that I would be looking to target, because they've got that attacking threat as well, and the wing-back system is something that Graham Potter does like to play, and they are getting plenty of opportunities. Chelsea is all, well, looking really good at the moment. I think Graham's starting to get the cogs ticking. The players are buying into what he's trying to sell them. So I think with this last one, it is just finding kind of that right Chelsea defender for you. If you have a gut feeling maybe Koulibaly's going to play, or Thiago Silva, or Chalobah, or Chilwell, then go for one of those options. I've gone for Cucurella. I do really like him and think he's at a really good price point as well. But that was the defence. Let's move on to the midfield within our side. Starting off our midfield is Leandro Trossard. Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking. Obviously, they bought into the hype this week against Brentford. Didn't quite work out, did it? Brighton just weren't at the races on Friday night. But the reason I've included Trossard is I think we must be attacking this Forest fixture. Forest by a long way are the worst team in the Premier League at the moment. If Brighton can show any kind of glimpse of what they've been doing so far well this season, then I think it could be a real explosive game for them and their assets. And Leandro Trossard probably fits the most into this kind of talisman theory that I'm always talking about, always banging on about it. These players that are kind of the ones that you see regularly on the score sheet, the ones that are absolutely involved in everything. I think Danny Welbeck as well from Brighton, or potentially a Brighton defender, is another good option as well against Nottingham Forest at home as well. Did come off early, so that would suggest that he's potentially maybe being rested. It's probably more down to the fact that he was very, very poor during that game. So far has 5 goals to his name this season. Obviously the hat-trick against Liverpool kind of making up the bulk of those. So he is obviously prone to very good performances, as we've seen. Hopefully he can get himself back in the groove against Nottingham Forest. I do think he is a very good option. But yeah, I can see why people would potentially be put off him. But I do think we need to be targeting that Nottingham Forest fixture all season long, because they look absolutely dreadful this season. Moving on to the man in midfield, it is Mohamed Salah. This is being filmed before the Manchester City game, so I don't know how that game's gone. Could absolutely explode. But this is off the back of a hat-trick, a 9-minute hat-trick against Rangers. Obviously, I think a little bit of their confidence has gone, and they did kind of just slide in terms of their performance so far this season. 8 games, 2 goals, 4 assists. It's not the Mo Salah that we all know, but with this new potential Liverpool formation, the kind of 4-4-2 that they did switch to at the end of the Rangers game, if Salah's playing as one of those forwards rather than a further back midfielder, that is absolutely golden as well. Absolutely delicious. Something that I think we should be massively looking to target. I think, though, Liverpool are in a little bit of crisis mode, aren't they, at the moment? Worst start for 10 years. Obviously, losing a lot of players at the moment to injury as well. It's not looking good. So Salah's kind of got to bring this team up by the bootstraps on penalties as well, as we all know. So hopefully he can maybe just get a little bit of a dodgy one of them. But West Ham's defence has been very, very good in terms of expected data so far this season. So it's not going to be an easy task for Liverpool, especially with their injury-riddled squad as well. I think with Salah and the Liverpool assets, I think wait and see how they play against City. Make sure that they're obviously performing to a certain level. If Salah's really, really bad again, I definitely think you could potentially go without him on your game week 12 wildcard. I've included him on this one just down to the fact that I really like him as an option for game week 12. There aren't many other premium options kicking about during this game week. There aren't many other potential captaincy options as well. And I do think Salah is potentially one of those players that you could captain. But West Ham's defensive data is very, very good. Like I said, if he is playing in that 4-4-2 formation against Manchester City, though, that does make him a lot more appetizing option. Moving on to our next midfielder is Marcus Rashford. Originally, I did have this as James Maddison, but James Maddison is a dick and got himself another yellow card. So he's now suspended for game week 12. So thank you, James Maddison. Thank you for that one. We all applaud you, all the James Maddison owners. Let's just take a minute just to applaud that man for a 94th minute dive. Absolute tool. But yeah, moving on. We've selected Marcus Rashford. Now, I do think there is another player that you potentially could go for here, and it is Raheem Sterling. Obviously, there is a little bit of rotation risk with Raheem, but I will come on to talk about our other Chelsea player that we have included in the team, kind of denying me to getting to Raheem Sterling. So we've got Marcus Rashford in there, 8 games so far this season, 3 goals and 2 assists. Like I said, there aren't too many other good midfield options. I think Manchester United will probably set up on the break as well against Tottenham. I think that would be a very good strategy for them and a very good strategy for Marcus Rashford as well, using that pace, using kind of all his kind of key qualities that he has got. I don't think it's been the worst season. I don't think it's been the best season for him so far. I do think there is a lot more to come from him under Ten Hag so far this season. Like I said, I do think he's one that potentially could come out of this side. Moving on to, well, how do I even describe this man? A troll? I told you he was going to be an FPL troll. It is Wilfred Zaha back to his trolling self against Leicester. It was an awful game, wasn't it? It was an absolute dreadful, dreadful game that I somehow sat through for some reason. I don't know why I put myself through it. Absolute torture. Wilfred Zaha did come off early as well, but I have included him. Like I said, very similar with Gaeta. Wolves are dreadful. They don't score goals. They don't concede an awful amount, but I just think they're a really, really bad team, and we should be definitely looking to take advantage of them this season. Very similar to kind of Nottingham Forest as well. These are the teams that we should be looking to target with our players. I like Wilfred Zaha though, because he does fit into this talisman theory. All it takes is for him to get a penalty. We've seen this week how influential penalties are in the game. Harry Kane, Ivan Toney, Mitrovic, like, do I need to even continue? Penalties in the game are absolutely key. Having the penalty takers and these key kind of talisman within your team is absolutely essential to doing well in FPL, and that's why we've gone for Wilfred Zaha. I think at some point he will get himself a penalty in the Wolves game potentially, or maybe further down the line with Palace's good fixtures coming up, but I do think at one point he will just haul. It'll probably have a penalty included in it. So yeah, that's kind of the midfield of this team. Obviously a little bit unconventional. There's a few questionable players in here that I definitely think could be switched around, but let me know down in the comments below what you think of the midfield within this side. But let's move on to our front line. Aubameyang is the player that starts our front line. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is a big rogue call, this one. Aubameyang obviously playing a little bit of the old Potter rotation risk. Huge, massive gamble, this one. I think with the other kind of forward options as well, I may be tempted to go to kind of Sterling instead of Rashford, and then like a Mitrovic up front or a Dominic Solanke. Think that would be a really good shout. But we've gone with Aubameyang because when this man starts for Chelsea, he's scoring goals. In his last 3 starts, he has scored in every single one of them. It's just whether or not you think he's going to play. I think if he plays tomorrow or today when this video will come out on the Sunday, then I would potentially look to maybe not go for him. But if he doesn't play on the Sunday, comes off the bench, puts in a good performance, I definitely think go for him in the midweek. I think he'll start, and I think he will score against Brentford. Big claim, putting it out there, but I think it's going to happen. It's a huge risk, this one. I think Mitrovic is probably the better option, but I'm putting my neck out there, basically. We're going with Aubameyang. I really do like him as an asset. I've wanted to own him since he's kind of broke onto the scene and started scoring some goals for Chelsea. I think he's going massively under the radar. If he can secure himself a place within that Chelsea starting lineup, I would be a lot more interested in him. But yeah, I think this one's a big gamble. So I think if you've got a massive set of bollocks, go for it. If you're a little bit of kind of a pussy, then don't go for a Mitrovic. But yeah, this one, big bollocks move. Moving on to the next forward, it is Callum Wilson, a forward I absolutely love to own in FPL. Anytime Newcastle have good fixtures and this man is fit, it's just a match made in heaven, isn't it? Sorry. 3 goals, 1 assist in 5 games so far. It looks like Isaac, however you pronounce his name, who cares, is kind of going to be out for the next few weeks. So it does mean Callum Wilson is going to be leading the line for Newcastle. Absolute poacher for them. Everton at home as well. Really good fixture, as we spoke about with Kieran Trippier. On penalties as well, which we spoke about with Zaha, is absolutely huge, it seems, this year. Penalties are going like left, right and centre. Having a penalty taker and a good player as well in your team team is absolutely essential for me. Really like Callum Wilson. Again, another huge differential at only 2.3% owned. Absolutely massive. Love him. Like I said, been a big fan of Callum Wilson for a couple years now. Love him in FPL. I think whenever I get the opportunity to kind of own him and he is fit and Newcastle or Bournemouth have good fixtures, it's just a match made in heaven, isn't it? And to finish off our forward line, it is a man who is honestly going massively under the radar. Spoke about him last week in my transfer targets video. I said he's Mr. Consistency at the moment. I wasn't wrong. Not blanked since game week 1. 9 goals, 2 assists so far. Keeps scoring the penalties as well and is the second highest scoring player in FPL. I think he's on course to score 34 goals this season if he kind of keeps up with the rate he's going. I think the reason he's going under the radar is because Haaland is absolutely just breaking the game at the moment, breaking the Premier League as well with kind of the goals and the amount of goals that he's scoring. I think it's kind of putting off people seeing like how good a season Harry Kane is having. Probably going to be potentially one of his best for goals if he does keep up with the same level that he's doing. It looks like he's going to break Jimmy Greaves' record as well this season, so that's something to keep in mind as well, especially when he gets close to that, because he will want to score goals in those games. I think as well, big captaincy shout for Mr. Consistent as well. But one of the big things that kind of put me off maybe going Kane captain is he's only got 5 goals against Manchester United in 17 games. But with him not blanking since game week 1 and the good start he's made to the season, I definitely think he is a strong captaincy shout for game week 12. That was the team that I've kind of built for game week 12 in our free hit draft. We will run quickly through the bench. We've got Leno in goal. I think there's a plethora of goalkeepers that you could go for here. Just put Leno because it was 4 letters really. That genuinely, that was the only reason. I couldn't be arsed pronouncing. Should have just gone Saw. That was 2. That would have been even lazier from me. Should have just done that. Tyrone Mings is a defender that I originally had in this side instead of Timothy Castagne. Villa aren't looking amazing, but in terms of defensive data, they are kind of looking all right. 7th for expected goals conceded, only 11 goals as well conceded so far this season. And Tyrone Mings is a bit of a set piece threat, if I can get my words out. So if you are looking for a potential cheap defender with a good fixture, I would suggest Tyrone Mings. Andreas Pereira, Mr. Consistent at the moment, off the bench, isn't he? And Mark Gahey, who we've already spoke about. I hope you did enjoy today's video. I hope you did enjoy the Game Week 12 free hit draft. If you do enjoy the content that you see on the channel, please like and subscribe. Like I said, we are trying to hit 1,000 subs. And if you have any questions, please do leave them down in the comments below, as I do answer all questions down there. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day and good luck this game week.